Hey y'all, hey, it's Dr. Rochelle with tip number 2 for navigating the holidays, your family, and your special needs child. So, the first tip that I gave you was to talk to your family about the diagnosis. And so, if your child has autism, talking to them and explaining to them what that is, what it means, and what it looks like for your child. Tip number 2 is talking to the kids. Maybe it's your nieces, your nephews, your cousins. And of course, the conversation has to be developmentally appropriate because if they're 2 or 3, they're not going to understand. But we're talking about kids that are like 6, 7, 8 and above. So you'll want to talk to them and explain to them why your son does what he does or daughter does what she does, and help them to understand differences and how everybody's not the same. And so if you don't want to necessarily give it a name, but you can talk about differences and just make it so they understand and so that they aren't ostracizing your child. So talk to the kids, and you can do this at the beginning of your holiday gathering. Just say, hey kids, I want to get y'all over in a space so we can talk for a little while. I just want to talk to you about a few things. And of course, you run this by their parents so they know that you're having this conversation, but having a conversation with the kids so they don't ostracize your child and or make them feel some kind of way because of their behavior, but helping them to understand what is happening with your child, and helping them to know that differences exist and how they can help to and just how to navigate the whole situation. And so maybe that looks like them coming to get you when they notice their cousin having a hard time or doing something that doesn't make sense to them. And so either you, your spouse, or another adult, making sure that they know to come get you guys if your son or daughter is doing something that they don't understand. But be sure to talk to the kids at the beginning before the festivities kind of get underway about differences and why your son or daughter may act the way that they act, and how they can help, right? And so and what that looks like. So being very specific with them, giving them some very specific ideas on what that looks like. And I'm not going into detail because every child is different, but for instance, just using this as an example. So if your son or daughter is autistic and they don't do well with loud noises, and the cousins are playing and then they start banging something and your son or daughter starts covering his ears or rocking or doing something like that, maybe explaining to the kids, why he or she is doing what she's doing and or what they can do to help. So maybe if you take earphones and that they're gonna start, banging on something or doing something loud, one of the kids has your son or daughter's earphones and they can just give it to your son or daughter so he can still be with the kids, but able to manage the noise and not allow it to overstimulate him so it doesn't turn into a tantrum. So that would just be one example. All right, so we have one more tip before the holidays to help you navigate the holidays, family, and your special needs child. I hope this is helpful. If you have questions, drop them below.